I can be.
Hey, dude. I think we are on
Hey,
Facebook.
we're
How's it going?
live.
I think we might be
It is
live.
going good.
Are you all healed up from your horrible whatever you had? Swine
I,
flu?
I'm
Did you have swine flu?
I'm I had the swine bovine I don't know what I had. I
Bird flu?
had a cold flu. Yeah,
Uh,
bird flu. Yeah, I'm probably about 90% better. A little bit of it hanging on, but
all right.
I'm surviving. I feel a lot better. Let's just say that.
Good. Awesome. Well, how's it going? You having an all right week? You're in the
I'm
midst of
having it's
Q4
Q4,
madness.
man. Like how can it not be having a good week when you just watch your sales numbers continue just to roll in like crazy? So yeah, it's fun. It's like refresh all day long.
You know we're doing those hand gestures because it catches people attention on Facebook, right? Have you ever
Right,
watched?
right.
Okay, we have a mutual friend who I won't name, who's like a hand motion machine. Like he's
Oh
amazing. I
yeah.
know who I'm talking about.
Yep,
It's
I
amazing.
know.
Anyway, I
And it's
digress.
all by design. It's all by design. It
Oh man,
is 100%.
I
So
know. All right.
yes, but you
Yes.
swipe.
And then we yes.
Right.
I'm kidding around. He might watch this. So hey, dude. Um, hey, so what are we talking about this week? What do we got going? Because
We are
this is
talking about
yeah. What?
where to sell online. We're still continuing the conversation about goals for next year, the whole omni-channel marketing. How does it work? Where should I go? What should I
Yep.
do?
Yep.
Important questions. We all want to
Absolutely.
grow this next year, and this is one avenue and one way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I'm multitasking.
Love
um,
it.
Where to Sell Online is our 4-part framework. And really, as a recap, I'll just kind of give a quick recap of what we're doing this month with our inner circle and what we're doing these Facebook Live videos for. We are talking about this whole strategy of deciding on your ideal sales channel mix for 2018. And really, that's sort of the emphasis that we're trying to really help people clarify. And so as we started to do that, I'm sort of a student at heart. I love learning. And so I just started to research, like, what's the business process checklist, framework, decision-making guide for, say, your optimal sales channel strategy. And there is not very much literature out there, no gurus teaching it, no big ebooks. The only literature I found was in the textbooks for like retail management degrees. They would talk about retail sales channel strategy. Well, it just made us realize that we really need to put together our own framework and guide so that our inner circle members and everybody, and we'll push this out as a as a Udemy course as well. Everybody should have access to sort of what you might call the best practices and a logical framework for building your ideal sales channel strategy. And the most important thing about it is to realize, first of all, the answer is don't just sell everywhere. I mean, that's not the right answer. Just selling everywhere is not the answer. And obviously, the other piece is there are teachers, gurus, and then businesses who are actively trying to promote every sales channel. So there is the push for people to say to you, hey, here's all the reasons why you should sell on Kindle, CreateSpace, FBA on Amazon, Etsy, Craftsy, sell on Walmart. The training for how to do those is endless. And all the gurus show up to do the training, but nobody stops to say, wait. And Shopify, of course, is what people have come to learn from us for. We have over 10,000 students now who we've helped with our Shopify training. But none of the gurus have stopped to say, wait, is it in your best interest to sell on all these sites? They kind of leave that whole part to each of us to just sort of say, well, I guess it's in my best interest to sell on every site humanly possible. But the 4-part framework we've created and we're rolling out this month is designed to give you a framework to really understand whether or not that's true for you and your best possible solution. And it's different for all of us. And so in last Friday's Go Live, we talked about business models and how the first step in your, sort of looking into this whole concept is really clarifying your own business model. And what business model you have is sort of the foundation. And if you're not clear on your business model, then that's sort of the first important piece. And so go back and watch that Go Live if you want. But what we thought we'd talk about today is really the whole idea of, if you know your business model, then it's a logical next step to say, well, what marketplaces exist to really support that business model? And this is where it's really like a match to the model. So you're matching your marketplace, the marketplaces you want to sell on, to your business model. And this is a really critical step. And so today we have got a couple questions. We have 4 questions, and we also have a graphic that we want to have you use, and we want to explain it to you. And I should mention, should have mentioned, we have this as a free giveaway. Kyle, should I mention the free giveaway?
You should indeed.
He was uploading it to our website. We're flying together here. We're flying. You should go
mention it in just a second. We'll make sure it works.
Well, we have a PDF that we're happy to give to you as a free giveaway, and it includes the questions and worksheets from last week, which we wanted to give to you. And so it's sort of a fill in the blank type workbook. And then we have several new workbook pages that we've added for this Go Live, just especially for this conversation. And so it's got the info for that use. And so you can go get it. Well, it should be working, but if it's not at the moment, it will be in a few minutes on our website, which is winningонshopify.com. And so winningonshopify.com is the place to go get it. Right at the top of the site, you'll see the get the workbook for where to sell online, and that'll be your guide. So hopefully that makes sense. Kyle, did I leave anything out? Did I mess up anything?
You covered it.
We're tracking?
We're good.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, then let's jump into this today. Let's talk about the the questions related to matching your business model to the marketplaces you sell on, and kind of go through that together. So we've got in the worksheet, I don't know, Kyle, do you have it open in front of you, by the way?
I do.
What is the first question we want to ask people to think about?
The first question for consideration, are you thinking the one past?
Sorry, you lost me.
I do have it up. Am I back?
Yep, you're back.
Okay, cool. So I'm looking at the defining your possibility frontier questions.
Yep.
For consideration on page 5. The first question is, what is your revenue goal for the upcoming year? So, I mean, that seems like it'd be like the basic question to ask anyone in business, right? Like, hey, so we should probably set a revenue goal, but maybe defining that revenue goal will influence where and how you sell, right?
Yeah, absolutely, right. So by channel, what would be, like, if you did total revenue, then you made a little pie chart and you said, okay, all my revenue comes from Amazon FBA. Well, then it's easy. It's one giant pie. Right. But if you've got some money coming in from other locations, then just doodle out a little current year pie chart. What's this year's total, revenue, and what sales channels did it come from? And then what's your goal for this next year? Do you have a stated goal for your business? Well, for your 5 businesses?
Yeah.
You don't have to say the number, but I'm just curious if you have your numbers locked in.
No, I do. I have a stated goal, absolutely in mind for each. Actually, I'm working on goals for each channel.
Nice.
Because you start to kind of think about how you want to scale and where you're going to kind of dedicate your resources. And so that breaking down your channels helps you kind of determine where you're going to allocate your time and your money, right? So if I think I have more of an opportunity to improve overall sales and profitability in one channel, then that kind of steers my resources and my resource management to dealing with that and kind of try to hit that goal. And then there's some resources and some channels that I have that I'm like, I know my overall number isn't going to be super high, but I'm making a strategic investment in that channel because I believe it's going to continue to return revenue and profit in the future. So I'm kind of saying this is what we want to move forward with. So that's where we're going to spend some resource time.
And of course, those smaller numbers really do grow quickly. I mean, those are that, you can get those to double, triple year over year because you're starting with a smaller number. So how many businesses do you have that you have your revenue numbers clarified for? I
have it. Yeah. So I have it at least done for the first one.
Okay. Primary business,
which is the Lead Art Supply one. The primary one. I have a pretty clear goal what we want to do in terms of growth on Amazon. And that's going to include a lot of new product development. And then I'm getting more of a clarity. I'm still working through part of it of how much we really want to expand that on the European marketplaces that we sell on. And I think we're going to make that more aggressive goal this year as well.
So you've got those.
We've seen pretty good success so far. So those are pretty much locked in. There's a few other. Yeah, for sure. There's a few other things and channels that I'm at least considering and going through this exercise and kind of answering these questions, looking at some of the stuff that we're going to cover in this conversation helps provide clarity around that. So it's really good timing. And this is a great time of the year to do this because my goal is to have this all done and kind of planned out within like that first few weeks of January. And we're kind of with a clear roadmap for the future where we want to be heading and doing. So it's good timing to be thinking that through. So definitely the first business, working on some of the other ones as well. We're actually launching a brand new brand. No, we haven't talked about our stuff.
Our goals, so
I know. So I mean, we haven't hit that one yet. And then I'm actually launching a brand new brand on Monday. It should arrive on Amazon. So, and I'm just not even sure yet because we have no sales on it. So it's hard to plan when you have no.
But no you have to pick. You're going to pick a. You have a hope, right?
You have to pick a number. Yeah. I mean, I have a hope. So we're going to at least try and hopefully do, my goal is that we can do, I would say 30,000 with that business in the first year. I'd be happy. I'd be happy with 30,000 for a brand new product, brand new brand with, nothing. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I mean, hopefully it goes way beyond that and we have to scale quickly, or maybe we have to revamp and tweak the product. I don't know yet. So a lot of it will depend on product adoption.
Awesome. All right. So I have a tradition that I do every year. And so the tradition is I always look back, and I've done this now. In February, it'll be our 10th year in business.
Nice.
So I've plotted our revenue every year.
Congratulations. I mean, that's a good goal, right? I mean, hey, think about small businesses that just go under. You are growing and crushing it and moving forward, and that's cool. 10 years is a good milestone.
It's crazy, it is a milestone a lot of people refer to because they always say, whatever it is, 80% of businesses close after the first 2 years, and then or 90%. And then by 10 years, 90% of those have closed. So I'm happy to say we are nowhere near closing. So we're doing good, but
only near scaling even further, taking over the world.
What I like to do is look back and just look at the growth by percentage, and then just ask the question, how do I, this exact exercise in many ways, like how do I decide what's appropriate and how we could grow. But just as an interesting side note, top level sales is of course not the primary driver necessarily. It's net income. And so, but when you have different periods in your business. And so for part of the 10 years, we cared most about top line revenue, just the total sales. Right. And then what has happened now, it really started last year, where we said to ourselves, we don't care about the top line number. We don't even care if we grow. What we care about is the net income number. And so we need to get really super clear on net income. And obviously I was able to retire from my 9-to-5 career on January 1st, 2014. So we're long past, that. So we really wanted to get clear on net income. And so then now this year, it's like, okay, what's the ideal mix? Do we go for sales growth? But we also want to focus on the margin, and improving margins, of course, every year is a great goal. So that's sort of our practice. And so we're in the middle of that right now. And if you're watching this sometime in the future, it's December 15th as we record this. So we're just really closing down the books for 2017 and thinking about 2018. So that's the first question. We'd really challenge you to think about what your goal is for 2018. And it's really the foundation question of like, where do you need to sell and why do you need to sell there? So that's the first question. What's the second question on our hit list here?
Yeah, the second question is, what are the 4 things that you could do to hit that goal on your existing sales channels? Like, what are you going to do? Like, what are the 4 things that you can do that you can think of to hit your goals?
Yeah. And so this is an interesting one to me. And the idea behind this is really forcing us to think about this primary question of expanding up on our existing sales channels or channel versus expanding I always mix up my words. Scaling up. I like to say scaling up or expanding out.
Yeah.
Scaling up or expanding out. And so it's not a foregone conclusion. You don't know whether what one is right or the other until you think it through. So here's what I like to say. If you could think of 4 ways to hit your revenue goal on your existing sales channels without adding any new sales channels, then the choice to add new sales channels is not actually about the money. Right. It could be about different things. Like, so for example, a lot of people who we work with, a lot of our students want a Shopify site because they want their own website. So, they just want their own home base. They feel like it's time, it's time to have a presence on the internet outside of just a marketplace. Now, that might be right for some people. It might not be right for some people. But if you could meet those revenue goals in 4 specific ways, advertising on the platform. Let's say, if you're on Amazon, but you don't use Amazon marketing services, if you're on Amazon, but you know that there are new products you could launch, but you're not launching. If you're on Amazon, but you don't do anything to generate your own social media, referral links, or email marketing efforts, contests, etc., you could do that. And then I'm sure there's a 4th one you could come up with. To just focus on your own individual sales channel. So I don't know. Can you think of 4 things you could do in your businesses to hit your goals without adding? Because in the last conversation, we both said we're adding new sales channels this year. So we've kind of already decided this. But,
we are, yeah. Yeah, we're already going to add definitely new sales channels for sure. But
does this make you
the primary driver? No, because I've already kind of locked in, and I know what those sales channels are going to do. But what I can say is that I do expect to generate more revenue on scaling the sales channel, our primary sales channel, than we are going to in expanding sales channels. If that makes sense. Like, I think we're going to drive more revenue with a scaling up than in expanding out. Now, the hope is that as we expand out, we can also kind of raise the boat on all of those as well. But the driver of our growth is definitely going to be scaling out our business on Amazon.com for sure.
Yeah. So you've got Amazon.com as one of the, scaling that up is important to you. And then you're going to expand into other Amazon sites, and you're also going to expand off of Amazon.
Correct. Yeah. So we're doing our own website and all that fun stuff as well. But then also even within the Amazon, because we discussed this before, but I consider like the different Amazon marketplaces as different sales channels for sure. Yeah. So we already have Europe up and running, but we can definitely scale that one up as we're scaling up .com as well.
Yep. Very cool.
Channels for us, some social media channels, our own website for sure. are going to be a big thing as well. But that's an expansion. But the primary driver of sales is definitely scaling.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And it's the same for us. It's a balancing act. Once you get more than one sales channel, then it's a balancing act of between how much revenue or in net income you generate from one, how much are you, there's almost like there's like a S curve that occurs where you're in this first phase of like setup phase. And then you're like in rapid expansion phase where it's like, you start to hit the hockey stick up and to the right. And then you get to the point where you start to plateau on a sales channel.
Yep.
And so that S curve you go through, you just realize, of course, okay, I'm just investing this year in setting up this new sales channel.
Right.
Cool. So what's the third question?
Question number 3. How long will it take on a weekly basis to manage each new site or sales channel I'm considering?
Oh, man.
That's rough.
I know it is.
That is a rough one to take. So for me, I think, and this is an important one too, because so I have larger goals as a whole, but then I also, for personal goals, I'm trying to get better at optimizing and systemizing different aspects of our business so that we can start to develop more outsourcers and get more help so we can focus on our core. Because one of our primary business goals of going 2018 is a crazy amount of new product launches. Like we're literally like, hey, what kind of number do you think we could probably do for product launch? All right, I like that number. Let's triple it. So so that's basically how our conversation went. And I was like, and I think it's going to be great because even if we get 50% of that, it's still going to be bigger than what we initially had kind of thought. So we're trying to expand our thinking in terms of scale. But in order to do that, you have to be able to have the time and focus and energy and systems in place to make that happen. So we're identifying different areas in which are lower uses of our time and looking at ways to systemize that and outsource those as well. So that's kind of the thing. So like when we launch the new channel, it takes a lot of time. It's not an easy, process. But once it's up and running, the management of it definitely becomes more and more, it should be less and less of your time and more of just the oversight of it, right? So that's what we're kind of doing. And then also I'm trying to create just more space personally in my life without so much stuff happening. So if I
lost you. Are you there? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Are you there?
Cool. Yeah. More space in your life.
More space. Create more space.
Yeah. So, it is tough though, because every new marketplace you expand to, you have to allocate some time for. Is it 5 hours a week? Is it 10 hours a week? So that's just, it's one way to look at it. So if you're going to have revenue come in 5 hours a week, 10 hours a week, is the time commitment, then what's the revenue look like? Now, so there's a tool that we use. It's actually a tool from Production Microeconomists. And it's called the Production Frontier Plane, the Production Possibilities Frontier. And it applies directly to our work here. And so what's the fourth question? And then we'll talk about the Possibilities Frontier graph.
The fourth question: what is a realistic revenue estimate for each new site or channel that you are considering?
Yeah. So the
who wants to be realistic?
Oh man. Yeah. So that's the idea is, if you have your goal for each channel and you know what you did this year, you know what channels you want to add, you know how much time it's going to take, then you've got the question of, is it worth it or not? And so the concept of the, possibilities frontier is pretty straightforward. It just asks you to, and if you have the worksheet, you can get the worksheet on winningonshopify.com. then you can download it and just do the graph and you can see what we're talking about. I won't try to hold up a piece of paper or anything like that, but basically it's a chart, and you have, for example, your hours on the left-hand side and your revenue along the bottom. And you could just draw a curve line. How many hours do you spend and how much revenue did you make for this year? And then plot 2018, where you say, how much time do I plan to spend or want to spend, and how much revenue? And the difference between those two is the idea of the, possibilities frontier. And that way, that is kind of how you can plot it out. That way you get the opportunity to say, okay, if I'm going to spend an extra 20 hours a week, is that, for an extra 10,000 a year, is that worth, doing it? I mean, is that worth my time? And of course, these are speculative, right? I don't know, for example, if I put product on jet.com, whether it's going to double my sales or it's going to be doubling my time and no sales.
And you get zero sales.
Yeah.
Right.
So those are the two variables that we're asking people to think about: hours committed versus revenue, and then making a calculation or guesstimate along those two variables. So
for some of the new channels that you're considering expanding into, have you tried to calculate any of the hourly time or the time commitment or the energy commitment, and how does that weigh into your decision making process?
So it's a good question. So we have several new channels that we're going to roll out, and we're in a different position than a lot of solopreneurs because we're big enough to have a company, a team. And so as soon as I started to identify the sales channels, first, when we went through this model ourselves, we said, what's our business model? And then what are the marketplaces we could match effectively to? And then my question was, what capacity do I have on our team with individual team members, time and energy to manage new channels? So I went to them and asked them because, one channel we want to launch into affects one of our team members primarily, or two, but two different people. And then a different set of channels, two different channels, impacts a different team member. And so we went to them and said, hey, what do you think about this? Do you have the time to manage this new thing? We don't know how much it'll take, but I would assume 5-10 hours a week. Can you fit it in? Will it, can you reprioritize to make this an opportunity? And they were all like, yeah, let's do it. So to me, that was sort of a different take on this exercise, just because of the size of our sales and team structure. Yeah. So did I lose you? Are you there? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
I'm sorry. We keep that now.
It's fun. We're having fun internet connectivity.
Fun with low bandwidth.
Exactly. And I'm like, I've shut everything else down, so it's just video.
Okay, cool. All right. So that's my answer to that question. So those are the 4 questions. So what are they again? They are, rattle them off to us just so we can have people fill out the worksheet if they've gotten the worksheet.
Yeah. So what is your revenue goal for the upcoming year? So big picture, what would you like all of your companies to generate in terms of revenue? What are 4 things that you could do to hit that goal on your existing sales channels? And then question number 3, how long will it take on a weekly basis to manage each new channel or site that you're considering? And then question number 4 is, what is a realistic revenue estimate for each new site or channel that you are considering? So basically, big picture, what can I do, what I'm working on currently to hit that number? How long, if I'm considering new things, how long will it take? And what are the realistic revenue estimates that I can make for each one?
Yep. It's a good list, man. That's a hard list to work through. Those are hard questions. So.
It is. And those are extremely, but I mean, those are the best questions to ask, because those are, you don't want to, I mean, when you're talking about your business goals and where you want to go, you have to have the hard questions answered and you have to have people that like, so for example, one of the cool things about our group and our community that we are in with Winning on Shopify is we get to be able to ask and have people ask us these questions and kind of start that conversation around to where we're holding each other accountable and we're moving things forward. And that's just really, really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're not familiar with even who we are, what we do, winningonshopify.com is a website. You could go visit, get the free worksheet about today's conversation with the 4 questions and the possibilities frontier graph that you can use. And then the inner circle group that we have is you can sign up there as well. And it's a group of people who are primarily Amazon sellers expanding into Shopify, some eBay sellers expanding to Shopify, some straight Shopify sellers who are crushing it. But it's an interesting mix of people, and we do fun training and lessons. We're doing the deeper dive of this whole where to sell effort, the training for that community. So these hangouts right now, we're just asking the basic questions. In the training itself, we're kind of walking through the details. Right. So, hey, let's wrap up on that, but let's spend a minute or two talking about our other hot topic, which is cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. If you guys aren't,
that's right, because we're crazy. we need another thing to be working on.
If you're not familiar with it, Kyle and I did training months ago, a couple months back, on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency for online sellers and Shopify store owners. And so that training is available on Udemy. That training led us to a new project we're starting, which is actually a club. It's a group, and it started with a real simple meetup conversation. We have some of our clients that we work with, and we told them what we were doing, and they're like, "What? What's going on? What are you talking about?" And we got together and met, and then had a lunch where we all sat around. We were talking about cryptocurrency, talking different perspectives. One of the people in the group has been mining Bitcoin since 2010. His name's Mitch. He started when he was 9 years old. And he is our, I guess you could just say, mining insider expert. And I don't know anybody who's been mining since they were 9 years old, for goodness sakes, or since 2010. That was so far early into the process, so far back in time when people weren't even, this was not on people's radar. And so his perspective and insight on this stuff is very interesting. And he's in all the groups. He knows all the insiders. He knows, I guess, what you could call like the old school crypto miners that are, from 5-8 years ago when it all started.
And they're super poor.
Yeah, they all fly together on their jets to wherever. But then the other piece that is fun is our other club founder is Julian Smith, who used to be the CFO of AT&T Broadband, which to me, that's why it's so fascinating, is because Mitch has the crypto mining, total tech insider experience. Julian has CPA, corporate finance, industry professional experience. And of course, you and I are like, entrepreneurs online.
We're crazy.
And getting us all together to talk about it has just been a blast. And so we're setting up our first club meeting is tonight. If you're watching this and you want a free pass, hit us up, private message one of us. We're happy to give you a free guest pass. It's going to be a monthly membership dues, so that we just have a kind of control on who joins. But it's going to be a blast. We're going to do a standing format where we always do the same thing. We'll do update of crypto news for the week. And then we'll do insider info on a coin, one specific coin. And then we'll do insider information on accounting and finance, which Julian will do. Each of these will be about 10, 15-minute segments. And then we'll do Q&A, and it'll be super newbie friendly. So if you don't know what cryptocurrency is, how to buy it, how to mine it, any of that kind of stuff, you can ask any questions you want, and we're happy to give answers. So I'm pumped about it, dude. It's
gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah. What is the level of your interest in this whole topic? What's caught your attention in this whole world of the crypto?
The blockchain technology, I think, as a whole, is going to be changing a lot of industries.
Yeah,
I think,
yeah.
And I think it goes beyond. So a lot of times people only see, oh, Bitcoin, 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 but really cryptocurrency is more of a technology base. Oftentimes people think of it, oh, it's just a currency, and you can argue, if it's a currency or not a currency, but it's really a technology.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a much more disruptive technology than I think that people giving it credit for.
Yep.
To this point. And so they're like, oh, poo-pooing the whole idea. And they see this big rise and this big boom and is it a bubble? There's probably going to be a retracement of some level for sure. I mean, and people will be like, see, I told you, right? Yeah. But the overarching arc of the technology is going to continue to be there. And I think it's not going anywhere. Absolutely. And it still makes a viable, it's really just interesting to see literally the development of something that didn't exist before 2010. Yeah. And it just kind of hung on there and was just like chilling out, and people were trying to figuring it out. And then it just went rocket ship. And I think 2018 will be even more adoption of it into the mainstream. And it'll be interesting to see how it all kind of plays out for sure.
Yeah. I just saw an article last night that was, they were quoting the senior VP of eBay, or one of them. And they said that they're seriously considering, adding a cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. I'm not sure if it would be Bitcoin, but as a payment methodology for eBay, which is the second largest marketplace in the United States. That would be a big deal. Obviously, Shopify enabled Bitcoin and Litecoin, which is why we did our training several months back. And so that implementation of the option of using cryptocurrency on these e-commerce sites, I think, is going to continue to fuel adoption. And so we'll talk about all this stuff tonight on the Hangout. So the website we have set up for this whole thing is Pacific Crypto Club. That's the name of our club. And so hit us up at pacificcryptoclub.com. You can check out bios of people and sort of see details. We've got a few blog articles there. I'm going to start blogging. My goal for 2018 is I'm going to blog on pacificcryptoclub.com and create articles all around this topic. And then in our group, we have a separate group for that, club members. Tomorrow, I'm thinking I'm going to go live and I'm going to talk about my favorite altcoin, cryptocurrency. It is not Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Litecoin. And talk about it. I'll give you what it is, why I like it, my opinion. It's not investment advice. It's just my opinion. And I'll explain it to you.
Well, there'll never be investment advice. No. Never investment advice.
But we'll do a live session and I'll talk about that in that club. So, and we're going to start doing stuff like that where every week, we're going to do meetings 2 times a week. But then in the group itself, we'll talk about specific, coins we like. And so I think it'll be very fun. So if you're watching this and you're into that kind of thing, hit us up at pacificcryptoclub.com. And or PM us. We're happy to get you a free guest pass if you want to attend one of the sessions, just to check it out, just to see what it's like and start to get a handle on it for yourself, because it's not going away, So
it will not be. Yeah. It will not be.
Yeah.
So, absolutely. And we'll post the link. We'll post the link for Pacific Crypto Club in the comment section right after we shut this down. So.
Yeah. For sure. Awesome, man. Good times. So we've done our 4 questions about where to sell online in 2018. Yep. We did our possibilities frontier plane graph. If you haven't gotten the worksheet and you're watching this, go to winningонshopify.com, pick up the workbook for the where to sell online workbook, free giveaway, and fill it out. Watch last week's Go Live, last Friday's, if you want to watch the first introduction and first section. And then I think timing-wise, we'll be all right to do this for the next couple of weeks, even though it's the holidays, so we might have to skip around, but we'll do our best. So
I think for the most part, actually pretty. I'm committed. I want to stay on this discipline of just cranking them out and engaging with people, and hopefully we'll just start getting more people on and can ask questions. We can have more interaction.
You're total freaking rock star from Mars.
I'm crazy. I just like, let's just do this thing and then make it happen.
All right. Good deal, man. All right. Well, let's wrap it up. If you're watching this by replay, thanks for watching it. Thanks for hanging out with us. And we really appreciate it. Do us a huge favor. Give us a like. If this has been valuable in any way to you, give us a thumbs up or share or
share it.
Yeah. And we'll keep doing these. So good time.
Send us Bitcoin. No, just kidding. You don't have to do that. unless you want to.
You actually can pay for membership dues on PacificCryptoClub.com with the Bitcoin. Yeah.
With Bitcoin. You can.
There you go.
That is true.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, buddy. Good times.
All right. See you later.
Yep.